From polystyrene beads and galvanized steel, American Polysteel Forms is manufacturing the building blocks of the future today. Do-it-yourself home builders, contractors, and satisfied homeowners have already experienced the superior performance of Polysteel Forms in every construction project imaginable. Their ease of use, exceptional insulation value, environmental friendliness, and overall ability to provide a strong, secure, and remarkably comfortable living environment have placed Polysteel Forms at the forefront of modern construction technology. This expanded polystyrene concrete form is designed with an interlocking tongue and groove construction. It stands 16 inches high, 4 feet wide, and comes in 6-inch and 8-inch core widths. The 5 galvanized steel strips on the outside are secured to the expanded steel inside to provide a solid and uniform anchor for attaching any type of interior or exterior wall covering. The unique design of American Polysteel Forms has created a building system that provides superior insulation, reduced air and noise infiltration, and increased strength and stability. All this while being easy to use and environmentally friendly.
When an American Polysteel wall system is in place, you've got a wall that is a sandwich of poured concrete that is solid, with 2 layers of expanded polystyrene, one on the inside and one on the outside. This prohibits and eliminates air infiltration through the wall. It does not transmit heat and cold through the wall as any stud will in a normally studded home. So you're winding up with an envelope in the interior of that home that is much more stable because you don't have drafts, you're not infiltrating air, and you're going to have a much more stable environment on that inside temperature. But actually probably the best advantage to the customer is the fact that he's going to save somewhere between 50 and 70% of the energy cost to heat and cool that home once he's moved in.
With a Polysteel home, when it's finished, the insulation factor is almost unbelievable. I'm heating a 6,000 square feet with a 175,000 BTU boiler. In the coldest portion of the winter, which is February of this winter, my heating bills were $60 a month.
In addition to using less energy, a Polysteel home will also require less equipment for heating and cooling.
I overbuilt the house on cooling. I put 2 coolers on. It's running right now about 97 degrees. Inside the house it's a comfortable 75. Only one of my coolers is running, and that's probably all I will ever hook up.
The insulation performance of polystyrene, combined with the thermal mass of the concrete, virtually eliminates air and moisture infiltration, producing a Polysteel wall which regularly exceeds an insulation value of R30 and will save thousands of dollars in heating and cooling costs over the life of the building.
Because the wall is a solid cast concrete, there's almost 0 air infiltration. You get no winds blowing in, you get no creaking. You can be in a 40, 50 mile an hour wind and it's perfectly silent in the home because none of the wind gets into the home.
The other thing is you get a good quiet home. People that have lived in the Polysteel homes comment to me how quiet it is. They just don't hear the street noise, the cars going by at all.
As we all know, sound is transmitted through airwaves. Consequently, a tightly fit Polysteel structure will also keep out the noises that can often keep you awake at night. With a sound wall rating of almost 50, a Polysteel wall keeps the sounds of the outside world outside.
If you don't like barking dogs, this is the way to go. You don't like to hear the airplanes overhead, this is it. It's quiet.
Because Polysteel forms stay in place as part of the finished building, the concrete is allowed to cure more slowly, creating a wall that is structurally superior to concrete alone. And a Polysteel building uses 25% less concrete. In addition to providing additional strength, a Polysteel wall is probably the most structurally stable wall system in the construction industry.
So in the 1.5 years that we've lived here, there have been no cracks, there's no shifting, there is absolutely integrity of the superstructure. But probably if you come back in 30 or 40 years, it'd be even more of a selling point that the home is well built and the superstructure is intact and it's just not going to melt down on you. It's going to be a strong home for 100 years. Not that I'm going to be around to enjoy it for 100 years, but it's nice to know that your home is going to be something other people can enjoy for years to come.
That house is never going to crack. It's not going to settle. You're not going to have any shrinkage, no warpage. You build that wall straight, when you pour it in concrete, it's going to be straight forever.
American Polysteel forms are simple by design, strong, lightweight, and flexible enough to accommodate an unlimited variety of architectural designs. They are the perfect construction material for both the professional contractor and the do-it-yourself home builder.
The polysteel form building method is very easy. If you've ever worked with Lego blocks as a little kid, you could probably build a house out of polysteel forms.
But one of the things that appealed to me with polysteel, and that has proved itself over and over again, is that you can take any architectural plans and build it with polysteel.
You can do almost anything you want with the product. You're not restricted by geometric square corners. If you like round corners, you can round them. If you want S's in your wall, you can still do that.
Although slightly different from conventional construction on the job site, polysteel walls are easy to construct and readily accommodate the plumbing and electrical needs of any building project.
With the American Polysteel wall system, the electrician will simply channel down through the foam to place the Romax, so it's about 1.5 inches depth into the wall. With the inside depth of the expanded polystyrene being greater than that, we're simply going down through the foam with a hot knife, and it's a very simple installation.
From drywall or paneling on the inside to stucco or siding on the outside, there are no limits to the wall coverings you can attach to polysteel forms.
We've done exterior walls that have been the traditional in New Mexico stucco, both a synthetic product and a standard one-coat fiberglass impregnated with a color coat. We've also done a stone veneer, we've also done a wood veneer, and we did a log cabin home. We have not experienced an exterior that we could not use with the product.
And the fact that polysteel forms are lightweight and fire resistant provides the job site with an added dimension of safety.
The product in itself it's not going to support flames. You're not going to have a fire situation at a project. It's not hazardous to the health. I know my guys will refer to when we used to lift 20 or 30-foot sections of a 2x6 wall with headers in it and how heavy they were, and you really got to watch yourself for some back injuries. We don't have that kind of situation here.
Approved by every major building code in America, American polysteel forms are the most environmentally friendly building material on the market today. There are no CFCs used in manufacturing polysteel forms, helping to protect our planet's ozone layer. And every building constructed of polysteel and not lumber helps preserve America's precious forests. Most important of all, however, is the energy savings that comes from living in a polysteel home, savings that accrue for the life of the building. While the homeowner saves money directly, the rest of us benefit from this overall conservation of our natural resources.
Part of the story that I tell my customers when they come to me to build a home is that if they build their home out of the American Polysteel product, they're going to find that they have a home that is much better built, that is quieter, that has a much more stable and comfortable interior environment, and that saves them money in the long run because of the cost of energy savings that they're going to have.
When all the facts are in, the choice is clear. American Polysteel forms, the building blocks of the future today. And by the way, did we forget to tell you how well they float?